Why intermittent fasting does not work. Sean here from Fit Fusion Brotherhood. Intermittent fasting is one of the most controversial topics in fitness and the nutrition space. For some people, it works really well. You see these amazing transformation stories, and then for a lot of others, it just does not work well at all. What makes it even more confusing is even the studies are pretty split on whether or not intermittent fasting is a net positive or a net negative. So in this particular video, I'm going to talk about two recent clients who tried the intermittent fasting and it did not work for them. So I'm going to explain what they did and why it didn't work. I'm also going to talk about some of the pros and cons. And if you're considering intermittent fasting, make sure you wait till the end. I'm going to actually put together a quiz to show you exactly what eating style or eating type might be best for you. If you do enjoy these videos, do us a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. So before we get into the actual meat of the video, it's important to first identify and define what intermittent fasting is, at least in the context of this video. So when I'm thinking about intermittent fasting, I'm talking about intentionally shortening the eating window throughout any given day. There are several types of intermittent fasting, some taking alternate days, some taking full days off, but for the purpose of this video, we're talking about shortening it, usually in a 16:8 ratio, meaning you're not eating for 16 hours and then you're eating throughout those 8 hours. That can be changed, but for this video, we're talking consistently doing that every single day. Now, people can start fasting for several reasons, but the most common is because they're looking to drop weight, they're looking to drop body fat. Now, for others, it might be health or energy or other reasons, but once again, for the purpose of today's video, we're going to focus just on the fat loss aspect of it in a 16:8 ratio. Getting into these two clients, very common situations here. Both of them tried it, didn't work for them, didn't like it. So the first person who tried it was an avid tracker, meaning he was really good at tracking his calories, his protein, his steps, and just wanted to be able to be in control of everything. And he maintained that. He decided to start some intermittent fasting, hoping it would get him through that plateau. But what ended up happening after 6 weeks is he remained in that plateau and he actually felt worse. His energy was off, his mood was off, his strength at the gym was lower than it was before, and he left just feeling like intermittent fasting was terrible for him. The second person has also never done intermittent fasting, and they just decided to eat intuitively. So they gave themselves that eating window that they're allowed to eat within, and then they just ate intuitively. And then what ended up happening is this person actually gained weight and gained body fat, obviously leaving them pretty frustrated. Okay, so what happened? For the first person, because all of the calories and protein were already locked in, they were expecting something magical to happen with intermittent fasting, as if that would be the only variable that would get them through the plateau. But what we do know is intermittent fasting can be a great tool to allow you to shorten the window or shorten the eating window, which may allow you to eat fewer calories, which then sparks fat loss. But we do know when all things are equal, when calories and protein remain the same, intermittent fasting itself will not get you through that fat loss plateau. And for some people, they just feel a little bit lower energy and lower strength, especially in the beginning of doing intermittent fasting. The second person, because they weren't tracking their calories, it's really difficult to know exactly what happened here. But what we can anticipate based off what happened with their weight is they were doing the fasting successfully, but this happens to a lot of people. They became very, very hungry. And when it was time to eat, not only did they get their day's worth of calories, they actually exceeded it because those hunger hormones were going so much. They weren't tracking, they were eating intuitively. So even though the eating window was shorter and smaller, they were actually taking in more food, which caused them to gain weight. It is important to realize that intermittent fasting is simply a tool. In itself, it's not going to get you through that plateau. It's not going to get you to lose additional fat when all things are created equal, like we talked about with person number one. In full disclosure, I've been doing intermittent fasting myself personally for years, so I like it, but not everyone does. I would argue that fasting is not for most people. Some people do really well, obviously others don't. So let's talk about those potential cons for intermittent fasting, because you do hear a lot about the benefits, which are great, but not for everyone. So cons, remember person one, they really struggled with their mood, their energy, and their strength. This is something that we see happen all the time with intermittent fasting, and there's two potential reasons for this. First, it just might be a genetic thing where you don't like the way being fasted feels. And then second, when you're disrupting your body's circadian rhythms, so if you're so used to eating at the same time every single day and then suddenly you switch that, there's going to be a bit of a grace period where you're just not feeling great. The good news is it typically resolves after a week or two, but those first couple weeks can be really tough getting used to it. The second one, this is especially relevant for a lot of guys. It can be the opposite effect. So one of the most difficult things with intermittent fasting is getting enough protein. So if you're only eating fewer meals now, you're probably struggling to get in that protein. And if you're protein deficient and your calories are going down, you're actually overdoing it. The aggressive dieting becomes too much. And I've talked about it a million times. You never want to sacrifice muscle for fat loss. So especially if you're like a grazer, you like to eat smaller meals throughout the day, fasting might not be for you. And then remember, person number 2 who did the fasting really well, but ended up overcompensating because they were too hungry. So it's great if you want to have big meals and fast and allow that to work for you. We actually have a nutrition protocol showing you exactly how to do that, but you do have to understand how to follow it. You can't just eat whatever you want. You can't succumb to those hunger cravings. Otherwise, you can actually put on the additional weight. Okay, so like I hinted at the beginning of the video, we do have a quiz that you can try to best determine what food style or eating style works best for you. So check out the comments below and click on that. We do have intermittent fasting as part of our one of our nutrition protocols. And by completing this quiz, you'll find out if that might be a good solution for you. Otherwise, for most of our clients, it's not their absolute favorite. We call it eat like a king because this nutrition protocol allows you to eat much bigger meals, allows you to not feel as hungry, but there is a way to do that. And we have other nutrition protocols for those who don't want to do the intermittent fasting. So make sure you check out those comments, click on the link, do the quiz, and you'll find out the best eating style for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.